Hey y'all, this is Trent Knox with the Trent Knox Show. This episode is about adulting and recovery, and it's going to be titled Adulting, but I was just getting my settings back, my computer's back. I didn't go live on this one. I tried to go live and my settings weren't right, but we're back. We got the settings right. We're going to be able to record, which is dope. And I just want to, I want to address like one thing that I had comments from my mother and people saying that I look like Stevie Wonder, like with my eyes darting around or something like that. The reason why I'm doing that is because I'm addressing the screen. The chat is over here on the screen, and I just wanted to kind of address that issue. Now, I'll talk directly into the camera. So, you know what? There's a little bit of a nuance to looking away from the camera, but it is what it is. So adulting. So as you guys may have known, I've been away from the podcast for about a week so far, and last week I wasn't able to record whatsoever. My computer crashed. I had to put a new hard drive in. My internet went out. I had to cancel a bunch of podcasts that I was doing interviews with. Had to cancel those. Additionally, if you were able to check out the podcast I did do with Brian Kern, Cutting Edge is going to be a new series under the Trent Knox Show, and additionally the Common Chaos Network. We're going to figure out the ins and outs between that, and then we'll get back to you guys. There is going to be another episode coming up very soon where it'll be a cross episode called Cutting Edge Culture, and that Cutting Edge Culture is going to be Sebastian Thomas, Brian Kern, and I all on one episode, and we'll be collaborating as far as that goes about what's going on in the now and some of the future and a little bit of the past, but a little bit of pinch of each seasoning in the pot, and we're gonna get it cooking. All right, so adulting. Recently, a lot of things went wrong. The internet went out at my house, so I wasn't able to do any content creation as far as podcasting and video is concerned. Then my computer crashes right after that, and I was in the middle of recording an episode with my good friend Jeremy Calco about acting, and it was really good, and the computer just crashed, decided it was going to go out, and I had to get a new hard drive and reformat the other hard drive. Luckily, I was able to save the hard drive, but it was just because it was maxed out. The hard drive was maxed out, and I saved a lot of the data on the cloud, so I was able to retain a lot. But, things happen. So over that course of that thing, I really realized I wasn't going in the right direction with the podcast at times, and that I was being really sometimes I was being vulgar, and I don't know if that was something that you guys caught on to or what was going on. I was saying curses. I was doing things that I didn't really care for, and that's part of the adulting. So I'm going to move this podcast and whatnot out of the explicit category as much as I can, and I'm going to be working towards getting that old audio completely, edited to be clean version, and that might take some time, so you're gonna have to bear with me as far as that goes. With that being said, there will still be an explicit version of podcasts. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna navigate that or how I'm gonna get the podcast together, and if there's gonna be like another platform or what it will be. But I just want you guys to bear with me, and then we'll be better. We're gonna improve things. I intended to just kind of put this on a hiatus, but I needed to make this kind of a public service announcement, and I think since I got some of the technology back together, I would do that also. So as some of you may know, that I am a Postmates delivery driver, and I posted a post recently on my Facebook and my socials that I'm in a very awkward time, and in that I've been putting out a lot of applications to job opportunities that have not came to fruition, and looking for an opportunity in which I can grow in and actually financially support myself in multiple ways: food, water, shelter. Okay, those are the three main things, right? And the issue is that I haven't been getting a lot of opportunities to interview or go to a boss or something like that. In the last episode with me and Brian Kern on The Cutting Edge on the Common Chaos podcast, I basically was tackling with the idea with myself and Brian Kern, thanks for asking these questions, was trying to get over get basically acknowledge that maybe my ego is holding me back, or maybe society's holding me back. Whatever it may be that I'm having issues with, I need to kind of address those. And so what was going on was basically that right now I manage my own business. I'm a Postmates driver. I have fuel costs. I have food costs. I have maintenance on my vehicle. And it just so happened that during Saturday evening, my car broke down, and this is detrimental to my financial stability. I was able. What? Oh no. Okay, we're back in it. Sorry about that. Oh man, I'm so sorry. I accidentally pressed the space bar and stopped the recording. So this is super meta, but it stopped the recording. So I'm gonna have to do something to get that audio synced back up. Anyway, so what was I at? I forgot to tell you guys where was I at? I forget when I'm rambling off like this. I was talking about my car being broken down. Okay, so my car broke down. All of a sudden, I was parked. I got a delivery from, where was it from? I think it was, oh man, I don't remember where it was from. I got a delivery and I drove it up to northwest side of Austin. Not so far northwest as like the Domain, but it was like it was 30th and Whitest Avenue, and it's next to a church. And my car just broke down. All of a sudden, my alternator went out and my battery was out, and maybe some fuses too. It was just like the whole thing shut down. So that's a big cost, and I don't necessarily have all the funds to cover the repairs of the vehicle, but I'm gonna have to take out some loans and whatnot in order to get back to working. It's a price of playing the game, I guess, but it's gonna cost me like $850 to get the repairs done, and that's gonna be a big cost, considering I'm already in quite a bit of debt, and all of my money that I was earning while doing this job was going towards funding the business, and whatnot, and some of that was going to be maintenance, but I was really hoping that I was going to be able to push it a little bit further in order for me to save up enough money where $850 is nothing. You know what I mean? I'll just pay for the repairs and then I'll be done. Unfortunately, that just wasn't the case. So now I have I'm probably negative money now. I haven't been doing a lot of record keeping for this, and this has been something that I've wanted to talk to someone who's a professional about, like a CPA or something, about how to manage the cost and the profits, losses, P&Ls on the business. And I'm not an expert or anything on running a business. I didn't go to business school. I didn't go to get my MBA after I graduated from college in film school. The only aspects of business I know is from film school. I understand how to create legal documents in order to conduct business and sell your product. That's all I know. I don't know I know that's about it. And I'm more content creator in theory than I am the technical aspect. From a technical standpoint, I know what trends are, but I don't necessarily know how to put it into application. Yeah, sure, I can turn on my computer, I can do this podcast, I can get a camera, I can do pretty much that's the best I can do, and I can understand 90% of the technical terms and whatever goes. But there are people who are far more technical than me and able to program applications and get things going in a different way. and I really hope that one day that I'll be able to accomplish that. But as of right now, what I'm dealing with is that I'm not the most educated. I'm attempting to run a business that is a sole proprietorship, and that's the embarkment on adulting for me. And that makes me an entrepreneur to some people. And I don't necessarily know if that's the route that is best for me. Pardon me for having this phone go off. Let me turn down the volume real quick. Not the ringtone. Yeah, the actual ringtone. So a bit of it has to do with what you know. And since I went to school, I know about film production, a little bit about film production, film theory, and writing, and history, technical, a little bit about the technicalities behind filmmaking, about how to budget, how to raise money for it. I know a little bit about these things, but I'm no expert. I mean, I'm doing it on my own the best I can because I didn't build a huge network. So I guess that moves on to another part of adulting, who you know. And it's really hard these days to meet people. You have to find some sort of subject matter that you're willing to go to some sort of community meetup, or you meet them in at your workplace, or you meet them just, happening to stumble upon an event that you want to go to, maybe a music festival. It's really difficult to find people that you are willing to do work with and also have some sort of healthy relationship outside of the workplace. And a lot of people decide that they'll kind of mix the two, and it doesn't work out the greatest. Maybe you guys have just had completely different, or you guys or gals have completely different experiences, and it works well in the workplace, but doesn't necessarily work well in the social space. So even in the education space, there's three different places most people exist. Education is one, then number two is probably workplace, and number three is your social life outside of both of those. So it's kind of like you have to choose in the triangle of opportunities, whether you're going to be more social in business or more social in personal life, social in education or education in business. You can only kind of on the compatibility, integrity, and accountability scale, you kind of have to choose which two you want to prioritize, and that's a difficult thing to do. And so as far as work is concerned for me, I've been trying to find another opportunity to also outside of this last mile business where you're either doing Uber, Lyft, Uber or Lyft pretty much now. Ride Austin is out in the area, but they don't compete. They're not even a competitive person as far as the market share goes. Then there's the opportunity for there's the Postmates, the food delivery services like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Postmates, Favor, that are all here competing for market share. So then outside of that, there's not a lot of opportunities as far as making money online in the what we call the real world. So if there's a real world application out there that is outside of the transportation industry and what a restaurant's called, the food service business, and transportation business, let me know, because I know a couple of applications for media like Stringer or Stinger. Let me look at it. Moonlighting. There's a couple different ones that are out there that have like sort of a physical nature to it. Stringer is one, and let me see. Obviously Instacart is another one that I utilize. Roadie is out there. But some of these are just the cost of playing the game is quite high. It's just not it's not profitable. You have to find there has to be something out there, whether it's, a promotions company that, utilizes an application to get guerrilla marketing services in the streets. So like, let's say Coca-Cola has partners with an application, and all these people, they show up, they get their t-shirt, and they go out there and they promote the service or whatever it may be. So but they kind of like they whatever, I'm kind of talking this through with myself, and hopefully I'll get this designed. Maybe no one will hear it. Sorry. And then, so that's work. You get there's two different types of work opportunities. There's entrepreneurial and entrepreneurial. Those who become their own boss, and those people who work for someone else. I don't know where I fit on this. I've worked for other people. I've done, but it hasn't lasted. Any job that I've ever been in that I was working for someone lasts for about 3 to 4 months, and outside of that, it doesn't really go any further. With my romantic relationships, if we move into the social part, with my romantic relationships with women, it's been 1 to 2 months, maybe. That is an official romance, 1 to 2 months. That's about how long it lasts. And then it's either they get bored of me or I get bored of them. And it's not really that even. I don't know. I think that's my conclusion that I come to, is that it's because maybe I'm not paying them enough attention. But this has never been what's been vocalized. It's all this intuition. I'm supposed to use intuition to I'm trying to make sure that's the right word that I'm using. Use that emotional state to garner whether or not I know what the logic of the situation is. I'm very logical. I need absolutes. I need exacts. And women that I, in my family, and women that I get into relationships and start dating with in my social life, online through Tinder, Bumble, Facebook, any type of social media thing, or, just happenstance running into them, going to school with them in education or at work, they tend to work in extremes. It's an extremity. It's polar ends of the spectrum. They're either super wild, they like to have a lot of fun, or it's the other side where they're, more reserved, conscientious of their health, athletic, maybe there's some circumstance. It's kind of a timeline of things that could go on in a person's life, but that seems what I always come on the extreme ends of a girl's life. And I need to find a person who's more, I need to find a girl that is more related to me, more, or not like, that's a terrible word to use, more akin to me, not akin or related in any way, but more akin to me. So that is parallel or moderate, like I am, kind of in the middle, has had experiences with potentially dark places, but also has really seen the light of places as well. And I don't know, when I'm in that super dark place where, drugs, alcohol, prostitution, adult content, which is what I'm trying to move away from to get to more of the friendly, family-friendly, family content, the stuff that, at least on the outside, at least the perspective that people are seeing is at least a little bit more respectable, instead of, and it's not to say that people who are on the adult side of things is not respectable. It's fine if you're in the porn industry, or you sell adult content, or you're out there, you're a soldier, you're anything that has a negative connotation with it, there's respect to it. It's just that it limits your opportunities to, and not to say that there isn't equal opportunities on that other side, on the side of it always comes to these extremes, and I'm trying not to make it an extreme, because there's just as much a light in the dark as there's dark in the light, and so it's equally, there's a balance, there's constant balance, and this is kind of what Brian talks about on his podcast, Common Chaos. And a shout out to Brian, and that's why we did a collaborative episode, is because he speaks about that subject a lot, and it's kind of the yin and yang of things, trying to figure out what's balanced more, the yin or the yang. Anyway, so ultimately, I just want to provide an opportunity for me to be more balanced. Between yin and yang, and not find myself going on the dark side more, or going on the light too much, to where that there's just like constant hatred, or constant badgering, or constant antagonizing, or being too much of a protagonist to where you have an antagonist, being on the antagonist side enough that where there's a protagonist working against you. There's a lot of ways to look at this this conversation that we're having here. It's just like not being the bad guy, and I don't want to be too much the good guy either, because then I don't want to have something to some sort of battle to fight, just without having something to fight for. There's nothing to fight for. We're in a state where there's no reason to fight, because there's nothing to fight for. Where's the damsel in distress? You know what I mean? There's no reason that a woman or a man is a damsel in distress. There's this narrative is absolutely absurd. The robots, the algorithms have already been built to where there's no reason for conflict. The solution is already there. It's mathematics. There's a language. It doesn't change. There's no alteration of 1 + 1 or 2 + 2. There's no alteration other than the conclusion of the answer. There's just that, and it's as clear as day. There's no reason for nuance. That being said, there's a reason for happiness. There's a reason for us not to be in depression. There's a reason for us there's a reason for all that. And yet there are entities out there that are pushing against that to cause more conflict. And it's not people. It's the result of people. It's people attempting to harm others, and as a result harming themselves, and they push against something that they don't need to be pushing against. But that's also due to the fact that there's not a lot of education, and this moves into the education portion. Education should be a consistent thing to tackle, or a consistent journey, right? And it becomes complicated when people aren't allotted the opportunity to continue in education. There's a competitive factor in education that leads to the people leaning more towards the social and work environments. And the reason why it draws away from education, because education is a challenge, and not everyone's prepared to take on that challenge. And that's where I think I'm struggling right now, is that there's an opportunity for me to educate myself on something, but I have to self-educate myself. I'm not able to, at this current moment, as far as I know, I'm not being offered the opportunity to go and get an education whilst still earning an income. and that this additional education does not allot me more opportunity in the work environment. Getting this education that I am contemplating is getting certifications in information technology, to essentially find myself a job in either administration, in information technology administration at a business, or some sort of IT work in some form or fashion, in managing on-site stuff or whatever it may be. And that'll be determined upon the opportunity that they may exist. And also, I have contemplated going to challenge myself in coding, which I haven't done in quite some time. Challenge myself in coding. I took an animations course in which I coded in Maya and in Alice and in different courses while I was in college. And I also took a gaming course in this semester that didn't even matter. I went to UCCS, University of Colorado Springs, and I took a gaming course that I completely flopped on, took a fat F on. And that was just not the greatest time of all time. I was in a very bad place when I was going to UCCS. I thought that there was some correlation between the University of Colorado and UCCS, but there's almost no correlation. If I could have chosen to do that any way different, almost just like you can hear my southern accent coming out at times, and I try to make it easier for you guys to understand and comprehend me. If I could have done anything differently, I would have went to the local community college that was not the satellite, the Colorado Springs, something else. I don't remember what the university is called in Colorado Springs. It's a little further north, and there was also the opportunity of going back to school and going to the Air Force Academy, but it was just like I'd have to start off at the beginning, and I was not gonna do that. That's not what I was looking to do. But anyway, so I failed out of UCCS, and I didn't really matter because my degree was already finished in that school. But there was no drive. There was no drive to go to that school. There wasn't a lot of pretty girls, which is the reason why I went to Texas State. And there wasn't like a beach or fun activities. Well, that's the reason why I went to the University of Hawaii. There was just a bunch of bull. There's just a bunch of crap. You know what I mean? It wasn't. There was no reason to go to University of Colorado Springs. It was the worst decision I think I could have made. I should have chosen a different university in that area. But it was the name. It was the brand recognition of University of Colorado, Buffaloes. Little did I know that was just unrelated whatsoever. The bad thing about it is that I wasn't able to. I wasn't even able to like look at the university. I mean, I could have looked at it online, but I was just so adamant that this was going to be the place that was going to be the place. Not to say I didn't have a learning experience. It just wasn't good. It wasn't. There was nothing incredible about it. I was able to take a business course, which I killed, got an A in that, but which kind of elevated my. But I already learned all that business stuff in high school. That was It was like taking a high school education again. But I didn't take any math courses, and I had to take this Spanish course that just kicked my butt. And the Spanish course, I don't know. So I kind of have a fear of going back to school. I just feel like after I went to the University of Hawaii and I was done, I walked, I did all that, and then they told me I knew this, but it got reinforced that I'd have to complete this course on Spanish, South American cultural class, and or take a Spanish level 3 and 4 to complete my degree plan. I was like, God, I wish I could have just gotten out of that, it was the kicking my teeth when I was going to Texas State, and it's the kicking my teeth now. I just don't care to learn another language. English is the language of business, and everyone who does business speaks English. Everybody who does big business speaks English. Anything else, it's the business. You know what I mean? That's the language. In public business, English is the language. And I learned a little bit of Spanish, but ultimately it didn't really get me anywhere. You know what I mean? It didn't offer me any other opportunities. And as much as it should just be like a handout. If you can speak Spanish and English, it should be just like, here's your management job in manufacturing, here's your management job in agriculture, it should be just like handed to you. There should be no complication. You know what I mean? It's nonsense. You know what I mean? You should never have to learn a language. It doesn't help you it doesn't help you at all. 0%. If it helped you like maybe 10%, that'd be cool. It doesn't. 0%. It helps you 0% ultimately. And unless you were unless you were a native Spanish speaker and you learned English as your second language, then that'll be a good one. That'll probably help you 100%. 100% that would help you. Other than that, it doesn't really help. And so, like, ultimately, education is kind of a fear of mine. I don't really want to go back to school and fail again, because that's a lot of money to lose, put on the line. And I don't have that type of money to put on the line. I already told y'all guys about how much money I'm spending on doing this sole proprietor business, doing Postmates, Instacart. I can't even express to you the cost of just wasting money and throwing it at a wall to see what sticks by going to study a trade, a technical school, going to get your degree, going to get a trade like coding, IT, getting your beautician's license, your haircutting license, or whatever. You know what I mean? Those things like are a waste of time. I mean, ultimately, unless you run your own business and you cut your own hair, or you take that and you run with it or whatever, and you get people to work for you, it ain't worth the shit, because you're not getting anywhere. Pardon my language. And I'm working on this. I'm really working on this. This family friendly thing. It's just there's the complications are so high, and that you need to you need to be almost 99% sure that you are absolutely know exactly what you need to get done in life. It's just like you have to guarantee that you're going to go to school and there's a job already waiting for you. And a lot of that has to do with OTJ, on the job training. So on the job training is the way to go. If you can find yourself niched into like some sort of technical aspect at your work, and then they pay for the education. So for instance, like Brian Kern, he's the best example. T-Mobile is paying for him to go to college so that he can elevate himself and get to another level, and achieve better, a better opportunity in life, a better rate of a better employment opportunity, a better rate of pay, and get himself to a better place in life and be able to afford the luxuries of life. Unfortunately, when you get out of college and you have, the collegiate system is trying to get as much money as they can, so they'll get an excess amount of students and not enough professors to educate students on the opportunities available to them once they graduate from college. My alma mater, University of Hawaii, has done nothing for me. Zero, zilch. They have not offered me any opportunities, and they've shown me the most disrespect, consistently sending me payments for an alumni service that they've never given me anything at all while I was there paying for the opportunity to be in school. It's a gamut. It's a complete gamut. If if you spend the amount of money that I did to go to college, you should have an opportunity, some product or service that comes from that. And it shouldn't just be the education, because when the education is not at Harvard level or Yale or Stanford level, why would you be paying as much as, why would you even, it's literally, it's literally paying for brand recognition. So you graduate from the university, and you graduate from Stanford, and people from Stanford respect you. Ivy League people respect you because it's a high education, and people just say, "Oh, he went to Stanford, he went to Harvard, he went to this," and you just hand over the job, right? As long as you were in like a, no, pretty much that's what it is. I mean, they just give you, nobody graduates from Harvard. I mean, you don't hear a lot of the stories of this. You would think you graduate from an Ivy League school and you just don't there's no success. There's no opportunity for you in a high level where you can afford to pay back your student loans. That just is outlandish to me. If anyone's been through that, please do comment on my podcast or send me some sort of message and let me know about your situation. And I would love to hear that horror story, because then it's a worse horror story than mine. My horror story clearly is I went to a university that is not well recognized. Yes, it's accredited, but it's not well recognized across the board. You're not like a University of Alabama or University of Texas or University of California or University of Southern California, or NYU or UNLV or any of these universities that are out there. Or not UNLV, because it's kind of, you know what I mean? Or, University of Miami, the U. There's these, I don't know. My point is that, like, the Rice, of course. My point is that you got to make an educated decision before you get into education. And how are you supposed to know how to make an educated decision if you've never been educated? And it definitely starts at the high school to middle school level. These counselors and these high school students, middle school teachers, high school teachers should be educating their student body on how to perform well at a collegiate level. They're more worried about the sports and activities rather than it's like frivolous. It's super frivolous. They're just not giving enough kids enough opportunity to make a decision what they should do with their life. And they're not even educating students on what opportunities are available and the consequences of making a poor decision. Not a poor decision like alcohol or drug abuse, but a poor decision in what they should do with the rest of their lives. Like a poor decision on being how poor of a decision it is to go to work for McDonald's and not be the owner of the McDonald's, or at least a corporate manager, or some sort of ability to a traveling agent for McDonald's, or some form of fashion, somebody who checks, a food inspector, or some sort of state regulated position, something that there's not it's not a dead end job where you're working there as a fry cook for 6 years, and it doesn't necessarily have to be McDonald's, but it could be McDonald's, Burger King, Chili's, KFC, any of these places, and there's just not a lot of room to grow. You reach your potential by the management role or assistant manager role, and they're not paying for your education so that you can really get there. They're advertising that this is an ability, but there's poor management within the companies, so they're not advertising to these young kids 16, 17, 18 that this is opportunity for them because they haven't gone to college, and so they're abusing them. I mean, just look at the sad faces on any of the people that work there. Even Chick-fil-A, I've been seeing in my Chick-fil-A, they're hiring more people of senior citizens than they are hiring. They're hiring more senior citizens than they are hiring kids that are in their 16, 17, 15, 14, teens, even young adolescents or young adults. You know what I mean? They're just not hiring them in big bulk. So and then to top that off, there's not a lot of education opportunities outside. Once you've worked in the work industry at a low level, even if you worked at Kohl's or JCPenney's, Macy's, these places, and then let alone is there a lot of opportunity if you went to school and then you went to work at these places, because the opportunities and availabilities for you to utilize your degree are very slim. And it's not about who you know, what you know. It's about what you have. What do you have? Did you go to the University of Harvard? Do you have $25,000 to invest in my company? Are you going to help me build my startup? Are you going to, if you work for Walmart, they want to, or if you work anywhere that's big business, they're going to want to crush you in order so that you're not competing with their ultimate goals. They don't want you to be successful. They want you to be not competition. That's what they want you to do. They don't want you to compete. They don't want you to be any form or fashion in the way of them being them seeing success. And if you're a star player, they don't want you to be a star player. They want you to be an average player, just so that the underperforming players are succeeding as well, because they're able to pull you down. It's like a crabs in a bucket mentality, is what they say. One of you wants to succeed. The other crabs want you to be, pull you down with them, and it's just a consistent And I'm not even in any form or fashion. I don't even have any adversaries. I mean, I literally don't have anything for these other folks that are in. I don't care. I don't care. It's me and me. I'm a lone wolf. I do my own thing. I don't work for anybody. That was my argument on the last podcast, is that I don't even have any adversaries, because I don't do anything that other people do. I only do me. Nobody else is going to do me. The same thing that I was just talking with Knives Monroe about, the videographer for Dakota Meyer. Even though I don't agree with what's going on with Dakota and his mentality in life, Knives and Dakota are their own people. They are their own brand. They are their own. There's no one else can be them, because they're fulfilling the role of being them. Whereas people who are entrepreneurial are fulfilling the role of when their higher ups underperform or overperform, and then they have to be dragged down, the ones that overperform, so that they're more consistent with the cog of the machine. Let's say one's overperforming, then you having issues like my vehicle going out of commission, because my alternator started to overperform in relation to the battery and the electronic system. It started juicing the battery too much. Therefore, because of that, the homeostasis between the battery, the alternator, the engine, the exhaust system was not to factory settings, and it fried my electrical system. So now I'm, my fuses and my alternator and my battery and everything is corrupted, and that came at a cost that is extremely expensive. And I don't have the proprietary tools that are required to fix that, because they're all Mopar tools, and because I'm not a mechanic that deals with Mopar parts, the vehicles that were manufactured before the 2000s and up until the 2006, I want to say, were more universal. I mean, they didn't require proprietary tools, and they didn't do that. The electronic systems weren't as intricate as they are now. I used to be able to work on my Ford Ranger, 1992 Ford Ranger, 91 Ford Ranger. Anyway, one of the two. And it was nothing. You just replaced it. Brakes went bad, boom, got the drums off, got about boom, 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 and you're done. There was nothing to it. Even if it had, let's talk about the Aveo that I was driving. It had disc brakes. All you have to do is take off the caliper and put in new brakes. Now you got to take off this proprietary lug nut. You got to take off the protective sealant that's over the top of the caliper. Then you have to call China because these certain type of constructed disc brakes are manufactured only in Indonesia, and they're out of stock on this particular one that is the least cost with the most durability. And then let's say you take it, you get you got to get the product to then put it on your vehicle, and now you have to have a jack, you have to have the proprietary tools. It's just a way for the mechanic shops and the dealership to hike the prices to an exuberant amount of money, and then they want to charge at the dealership or the repair shops, the places that that are dealerships. They want to charge you $100 just to inspect your vehicle for damages, and they want to charge you so much, and it's absolutely ridiculous what the cost is to get maintenance on your vehicle. And vehicles don't last as long as you would like them to. You have to make sure that there's just so much. It's almost, I was just thinking about this, like cars are much like your body. You have to maintain your body, make sure your heart is healthy, your lungs are good, your brain is not being you're not doing poor things like drinking too much alcohol or whatnot. Your brain can recover from being irrational, but it's just you have to know your limit, and not necessarily everyone's not looking out for your best interests all the time. You know what I mean? And so that's what we're dealing with these days. And I hope that there's a lot that we can learn from, and maybe this education, social, and work balance, because it's three things really, will come to a point at which they kind of all coexist in a way that they kind of all coexist. At least for me, I would really enjoy if this podcast was successful, because then it satisfies my food, water, and shelter, my basic needs. It works towards achieving the hierarchy of Maslow's needs, and it also is a benefit to those individuals out there who are growing up, are suffering from something that's going wrong in their lives. It's maybe I can just be the person that helps them transcend that bottom that they think they're at, and because I've been there, I know what it's like to think that there's no way out, and that you can't do anything, that you can only hope that you can only hope that someone out there will care, and that there will be someone that saves you, that you need a hero. You need someone to be your hero to save you from collapsing, that'll happen. And you might find that might be me, that might be someone else, that might be that person that can help you be your own hero. I think that's all in this. Do your best to be your own hero. Don't be your own villain. If you are going to be your own villain, make sure there's a hero to save you, because there's going to be a problem in your life that you're going to need a hero, and so to save you from you. Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for listening into this episode, and I will catch you on the next one. This one was about adulting. Do 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 do.